Yeah.
Did you get an announcement it's recording? Okay. Because I only
Yes,
just
it's recording. It's recording.
I only just recently learned that if you record something, it preserves the chat. So this way I don't have to write everything down, and I can get you.
I finally had my son put my name down instead of my email.
All right. Okay. Well, we're a good group. I never know. It looks like there's 8 of yous and 1 of me. That's not a fair fight, but what the heck? I got God on my side. And maybe we made another minute. Randy, could you put your name and email address in the chat, please?
Susie, I put your email in
Thank
there
you.
for him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so tonight's session is going to be a quick one. I got a document. I'll pull it up and I'll read it to you, and I'll take questions, and I'll explain I'll explain more if what we're about to do isn't clear over the next, I think it's 5 weeks. So there's this interesting institute or practice or school of thought, not a school of thought, that came out of USC. A guy by the name of Jim Beeren, who passed away just a couple of years ago, and still working, and he was in his 90s. We should all be like that. He's an original, among the original gerontologists. And one of the things that he created was this guided autobiography program, which a long time ago now, like 4 or 5 years ago, I became certified in it. Now that means I took a course and I did all the work. But if when I retire, I want to do this on a larger scale, I'm going to have to, take a refresher. But the essential idea of this guided autobiography is that you pick a topic, and anything is really fair game. Our task is our spirituality, and you provide provocative leading questions with which the participants write an essay. So you all know this is a writing course because I put any marketing piece I put out, I said this is a writing course, and then you return the following week or whatever the time frame is, having written your piece, and you share it, and you share it with the group. And I say this in the document, which I'll also send to you along with the dates and the leading questions for next week. And this is the 4th time I've done this, always on Zoom. And each time I've done this, it turns into a very nice learning community. People open up in certain ways and share with each other. So I want to put that aside. So our goal in this class isn't to create writing that we're going to critique. Whatever we present to the rest of the group is what you present. We may, in the write-up that I'm going to give you, one piece of critical response is permissible, and only one. And that is, you might say to the author, if you want to pursue this a little bit more, maybe you can expand on this point or that point. But we're not critiquing style. We're not critiquing word usage. That's a different kind of class, which this isn't. Unlike the bar and bar mitzvah class, I assume Tricia is not Jewish, but she's considering becoming one. So her story might be interesting. I don't know. Is there anybody else? Is there anybody on this call who's not Jewish besides Tricia? Okay. I'm not looking for any kind of orthodoxy, and I mean orthodoxy with a lowercase o. If your responses to these questions seems to you like they fall outside of a norm, well, you won't be alone. I'm interested in using these questions and your essays and our discussions to kind of learn a little bit about each other, maybe grow a little bit Jewishly, but certainly grow as a community. So, having said that, let me bring up the screen share. And now what I'm going to do is read the document, but some of which I've already said, but it's more articulate.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Does I wrote my story. I mean, I sent it to Betsy. Does
Right.
that count? Or is that
But that's a different kind of story.
okay?
You'll see what the questions are for next week.
Okay.
You'll see what the topics are. I guess there are, I have to look at that. There are 4 or 5 topics. I don't recall. And well, let me bring up the document. And this frequently happens. Don't know why. Oh, maybe I know why. Give me a second. Yeah, that's why it happens. Now it shouldn't happen. Writing your spiritual autobiography. Our spiritual life is a subject we often don't articulate. That's my experience in Jewish communities. My much more limited experience in Christian communities is Christians are more willing and more anxious to talk about their spiritual life. Yet in articulating our inner spiritual life or our inner life with God or whatever else we think to be outside of us, we can come to better understand ourselves, and at the same time, if we choose, we can share the results of our contemplation with others. In this 5-session class, students will compose 4 brief essays on assigned topics. The intention of these assignments is to provoke the students to address their spiritual lives in I can't read the word, what is that?
A guided way.
Thank you. I can't see it. In a guided way, hence guided autobiography. The format of this class is based on the principles of guided autobiography, GAB, a system founded by James Beeren, who worked at USC as one of this country's first gerontologists. And it's practiced by hundreds of individuals all over the world, trained by students of James Beeren. The process is fairly simple in its format, yet complex in its implementation. It's a typo, and it doesn't even show up as a typo in its implementation. Having been given an assignment, students will follow the contours of the assignment as you see fit, while remaining within the framework of the assignment. The length of the assignment should be around 800 words. 1,000 words is permissible, 600 words is permissible. So you got a framework of, let's say, between 600 and 1,000 words. On the day the assignment is due, each student in turn will have the opportunity to read their paper to the class, and the other members of the class will take a few minutes and respond to the paper. Students' responses are not intended as critique. Rather, we'll engage in conversation, remarking perhaps on what we learned from the piece, perhaps what we liked about the piece, perhaps how the piece fits in or does not fit in with one's own feelings and experience. It's permissible to suggest places in the piece that might benefit from some further explication. But for the most part, we're involved in learning from each other and learning from and supporting the presenter, not criticizing the presenter's writing. As I said, that's a different kind of class. So let me be a little more clear. Our intention here is to form a learning community that trusts each other, that can rely on non-judgmental responses. It's quite possible things of a confidential nature will come out. I've seen it happen. We need to be able to support and maintain confidences. You'll learn by doing the assignments. We'll love to learn from each other through dialogue about the assignment. Another typo that didn't catch. I'll correct the typos before I send it out to you. I don't want distributing documents from Rabbi Cohen that have typographic errors. Each time I've been involved in a GAB course, either as a student or as a teacher, we inevitably achieve that sense of community that I'm speaking about. It's a quite remarkable experience. The class will meet on Thursday from 7 to 8:30. Now, it's not a fixed, I mean, now this is a large bunch of people, and if you all elect to stick it out, we almost certainly will go to 8:30. Tonight, we won't even get anywhere near 8. But in the presentation, well, let me just finish it. The first part of the class will be a presentation of the next assignment. After a short break, students will present their reactions to the assignment of the week. So these are the dates: October 26th, November 2nd, November 9th, November 16th, and November 30th. So these are the topics, and each one of these will come with a series of questions, 3 or 4 questions that you can address. You don't have to address them all, but you can create your own sort of answers to your own questions. So the first one is about your experience as a spiritual person through, let's say, college, from year 0 to 21, right? What happened to you in college? What happened in high school? What happened as an adolescent? What happened as a little kid? And so this is like I say, this is a way of like digging into your memory and into your, your rational and your emotional sides, and find things that you want to talk about. Then the next is who have you had as a friend or a mentor or a guide, and there can be more than one. It can be a friend, it can be a rabbi, it can be another clergy person, a teacher, a parent, a sister, a cousin, an uncle, whatever. But somebody, some one individual or more than one who has helped you formulate who you are. Number 3 is found faith, lost faith. How you came to have it or lose it, or you found it, lost it, brought it back, lost it again, something like that. But explorations of faith. And then a roadmap of your spiritual journey, which is a kind of a way of summarizing topics 1, 2, and 3. Okay. All right. So I want to stop now, and then I'll come back and I'll read you the questions for this assignment, but I'm going to also send it to you, so you don't have to rely on your memory. So is this clear so far?
Yes.
Is this something that you might want to do? This is I'm not asking you to go out and research, for instance, faith. I don't want you to go to the. I mean, by the way, if you want to do it, I'm not going to stop you. And if your essay gives evidence of having looked at how other people talk about faith, for example, that's totally fine. But that's not this assignment. If you had a mentor and he or she is still among us, it might not be a bad idea if you might call that person. All of my mentors have gone to the great beyond. And so things of that nature. The idea is, for the most part, for you to sit down beside your computer or however else it is you do writing these days, and knock out 800 fairly carefully chosen words that expresses yourself as articulately as you can. But once again, we're not going to sit here and go, "Oh, that's really terrible. Louis, that's the worst piece of writing I've ever heard," or something, or something to that effect. We're not critiquing this. They become what might be a good. They become they become a text. They are in them among themselves a text that we then look at. In the past, I've always done this only on Zoom. In the past, I haven't screen shared. And that's something we can talk about, but we haven't screen shared. Does everybody know how to screen share? If this is a challenge for anybody, typically you have the essay in front of you, you read it, and then it's our job to comprehend what you've read as best we can, and then have at it. If this number of people stays on, and I hope you do, there's 8 of yous. That's a good hour and a half, and a good way for us to learn from each other. Most of generationally, you don't see Trisha. Trisha's a baby, but for there's a and Jason's just a teenager, but so we are generationally fairly close, but I'm interested in hearing about your experiences, your insights, your feelings about religion, about God. And similarly, I'm not asking you to, to go to the library and read several books on theology. If you do that, there's no foul, but you don't have to do that, and I'm not expecting it. This is all coming from within yourself, and we may, we may ask you. Probably not based on past experience, but we may ask you to further clarify something, and then there you have it. Now, once upon a time, when I taught this class, I offered for everybody who would care to give me their contributions, and I would do a light edit on them and produce an ebook. It's easy enough to do. And as we go through this thing, I'll ask if you want to do that. I'll ask if you want to do that. And if most of you, maybe even all of you, would care to have your words saved on the internet in perpetuity, it's a little bit of something for for you, your family, whatever you'd like to do, and for us as a group. I'm thinking in the spring of offering. I'm acquiring a few contacts in the interfaith community. And I'm thinking in the spring of perhaps opening this up to one or two other church groups, although I'm afraid, going back to what I said about Christians being more apt to be open about, not open, that's not the right word. Christians are just more used to talking about God and prayer and Jesus and in ways that Jews are kind of closed off about. Liberal Jews, not Orthodox Jews. And I'd be interested. This is not about us because you can't take that course in the spring anyway. But I'd be interested in seeing I've never done it with an interfaith group. Be interested in seeing how it works with an interfaith group. So questions at the moment. You understand the assignment. You're willing to write a 6,000 to 1,000 word essay.
Why? I have a question.
Sure.
Why do you call this course spirituality writing? As opposed to, I guess I'm asking you to define the title of this course as opposed to your religious beliefs.
Well, that's a good question. Funny you should ask. I use the word spirituality instead of religion. And even though everybody in this call, Patricia, is Jewish, but she's thinking about joining us, I don't call it Jewish, your Jewish spiritual, your Jewish autobiography or your religious autobiography, because the word spiritual is a little slipperier. It could be your Jewish story, it could be your religious story, but if you think about your relationship to something transcendent, kind of outside of what you might think of as normative religion and outside of Judaism, I want this title to be inclusive. Does that help you? You don't look so sure. If you want to turn it into religion, you want to turn it into Judaism, I got no problem with that. But for somebody on the call who may not have, may have a religious identity outside of a more strict terminology, I want to be able to include that person in this writing course. Okay, Harvey?
Each one of those is a discrete essay? Each one of those 4 topics?
No. Yes, I'm sorry. The 4 topics, I haven't given you I haven't given you the trigger questions yet. There are 4 discrete topics, one for each week of the class.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. What if we don't have a mentor?
What if you don't have a mentor? Well, first of all, I invite you to dig into your head to see if there's, in your past, to see if there's somebody to whom you might use that title. You shared last night that you do Tai Chi.
Right.
I don't know how you came to Tai Chi. I don't know the spiritual meaning of Tai Chi to you. It may just be a good way of keeping your body limber. But if you have a Tai Chi teacher, that would be useful. And if you don't have a mentor, then that's fair. Just come to the class and listen to everybody else.
Okay.
I mean, a parent, a parent, a kid, a brother, a teacher in college. I mean, if you're scouring your brain and you can't find somebody who fits that criterion, then fine. But if you took a philosophy class in college or a literature class in college, or even like something like a political science class in college, and that teacher gave you some insight beyond the immediacy of the topic, or you had you had a religion class. But if not, that's fine. That's a fair question.
I'll have to dig into that one.
Anything else? Okay, so let me bring up the screen share. I'll give you the trigger questions. And again, I'm going to send it to you almost immediately. Spiritual experiences from your young life, childhood, adolescence, or college. What events, education, or encounters stand out for you from these times of your life? You can pick one of these times in your life, two or all three. You can even break it up if for some reason in your mind it can be broken up even more granularly. That's totally fine. Write about things that occurred that molded your religious or non-religious identity. What did they teach you? Were they good experiences, bad experiences? And how do you see these experiences through the lens of who you are now? Now, to repeat myself, because I don't want to leave this call thinking that you have to answer all four of these questions. These are all guides. And one or two or three, I mean, even one might be sufficient if you're reflecting on them, gets you to kind of a rounded answer. Okay. All right, Christine.
I was intrigued by Harvey's question about, what if you don't have a mentor? I'm thinking of, sometimes when people are very isolated in their spiritual journey, sometimes there are readings or experiences outside of that you refer back to again and again. Maybe it's a person that you met who was really sort of amazingly transcendent, who wasn't really your mentor, but you revisit that experience, and that would work for me as a mentor.
Yeah, so I'll piggyback on that a little bit, and maybe this is helping other people besides Harvey. It could be an author, as you
Exactly.
said. It could be somebody who who if you called him up or her up and said, "You were my mentor," they'll say, "What the hell? What are you talking about?" But
Who are you?
yeah, or who are you? Or their presence or their ideas may have influenced you. And I don't want to push the envelope any farther than that. Again, Harvey, if there's nobody that you can, nobody or no thing you can identify in that regard, then there's no foul.
I think writings would be the closest thing. Writings.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what writer or writers have really influenced how you think? Jason.
Well, it seems like a lot of people have questions about the second week, and I'm wondering, maybe you want to just show us the questions for the mentor, the guide things for that, unless you don't want to jump ahead. But it seems like everyone's kind of focused on the second one instead of the first one, and I'm sure you're going to give us guidance next week on that one. So maybe we're jumping the gun a bit.
Well, let me see if I mean, it's fair just to, but I don't have it up, so I have to find it. Now, what precedes this actually is a bit more text than what you've had now. I guess I'm reflecting on somebody who was influential to me. So I'll just give you, but for now, I'll just give you the questions. So who are the religious influences in your life? Like this case, so I didn't say spiritual here. So jump all over me. What did this person or persons teach you? How did this person help you become the man or woman you are, the spiritual, in terms of your spirituality? Was there a book or books or other media that help you understand the contours, the spiritual life? I mean, maybe, I hope not, but maybe, you know, that old Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston. I heard somebody cite that recently as some kind of authoritative thing. But you know,
That's so sad.
is there a movie? I mean, you know, I don't know. Maybe one of you really loved the movie The Matrix, the original. I'm not sure, but I mean, there are spiritual elements in there. So it's cast a wide net. And if you don't get any fish, I'm going to say it again, nishka fail. It doesn't matter. What was the impact that these individuals or things had on you? Have you passed this learning on to other people? Is there someone you know about but never met whom you wish you had met? I really wish I'd met Maimonides or Martin Buber.
Yeah, Maimonides would have been fascinating.
Um, so, um, so that's it for the evening. I want to, let me do something here.
Where are you going to have the questions posted? I tried to write them down, but I didn't get them down.
Right,
I'm going
me neither.
to email you. I said I'm going to email them to you. Well, hold on for just a second.
You're emailing them to each of us?
Yeah, it's easy enough to do. Whoop, that didn't work. I had a bad
You have to
experience.
give them your email, Ruth.
My email is arnoldruthg@aol.com.
Well, I wish you would write it down.
I think you have it, Rabbi, because you've communicated with me on email.
I know that I have it, but as a member of this class, it would be nice for me to have just a list. No, I can't do it that way. I'm trying to cut and paste, but Zoom doesn't let you do it.
How about if we all write in the chat what our email addresses are?
Well, you were supposed to have
Right.
done it. If you didn't do it, then do it.
What?
I asked you to do it at the beginning of the class.
Oh, I wasn't here at the beginning of the class. Sorry.
You know, I had a bad experience with Zoom today. And so I'm not gonna write all your emails down. I'm gonna get all your names. Jason. Let me see, make sure I got everybody. Oh.
You don't have me on the IC.
What's that?
I don't see my name there. I see
I got-
Christy
I-
Harvey.
I'll T-Dougie, don't worry. I got you. I got you covered. So I'm gonna read the names, make sure I got everybody, okay? So Susan Gordon, Felicia, Christine, Harvey, Tricia, Jason, Ruth. I put Tricia down twice. That's because I really like you. Randy, and did I miss anybody? Suzanne, I missed you.
Susie's up there.
No, in my list, in the list that I
Oh.
just read. So I think I got everybody. Okay, so clear enough? I don't, this is not supposed to be anxiety provoking. It's supposed to be a kind of fun
Interesting.
exploration, opportunity for exploration, and then sharing. I mean, it's both the writing and the sharing. They're kind of like equal parts of the project. And I don't write. I mean, I do write, but I don't write for this class. And especially with this number of people, if I added my own contribution to this, it would be another. Typically the teacher doesn't in a GAB class. Typically the teacher doesn't write. Okay. Od Mashahu, anything else? Okay, so Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you next week.
Okay, great.
Friday.
Lester, you're muted. Did you say anything more than goodbye? Okay. All right,
See you
goodbye.